nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. Thanks for being here. I really do appreciate everybody starting your day with your boy here. To a Work It Out Wednesday, I want to lay out today. I want to lay out what I envision kind of the top end of Notre Dame results for 2025 and the roadmap there. And also what could be the downside of 2025 and the roadmap of how that looks as well. Now, I want to start this off by saying some of this may seem very straightforward and obvious, and I agree with you. But I still think we have an obligation to cover it in detail here. A lot of this is self-evident and some very obvious things, but I want to book it. I want it on the record. I want it out there. So we're going to talk about that. What I think the high end for Notre Dame is, the roadmap to get there. And if things go sideways on us on 25, what does that look like? And how do you get there? And how do you get out of it? And what comes after it? So really interesting discussion. I would love you guys, chats, calls, whatever, what you think the high end, low end's going to be, whatever. So that we want to do that. I still see a lot of USC chatter. And you know what, you guys, listen, here's the deal. Here's the deal. You're in May. Okay? So a story like this that's getting all the national run that it is, and everybody's writing their articles. I think I wrote 3 articles about it late last night. It was one of those nights where I was up very late and my mind started spinning, and I wrote like philosophical articles about Notre Dame and USC. This would always be a huge story. But if it dropped in the middle of the season where everybody has games and everybody's playing or whatever, it wouldn't be getting all the attention it is now. So I understand there's some people that are like, whatever, just move on. They're going to do what they're going to do. Just keep it moving, whatever. You got to understand a part of the whole reason this is blowing up like this is the time of the year. Everybody's thrilled to have a big story to write about. This is the time of year you go fishing for content when you do what I do. And everybody's doing it. So I do agree it's getting a little inflated here. But that's what happens this time of year. Everybody's covering it because there's not much else to cover. That's a reality. And listen, man, this is a rivalry. There's going to be exaggerated, heated takes both ways. I've been going back, Josh Miller, CNEP, Tex and DJ Carr, Dr. John, The Sly, Rudy, everybody's here. I love the morning crew. Phone lines are popping. Maybe I just need to shut the hell up and let the people talk. Shut up, John. Let the people talk. Kent Jackson. Well, it's the big slow. John doesn't fish. He won't eat them. When I fish, I throw them back. Let them live. What am I going to do? Flip the thing on a plate and eat it while the eyes staring at me and the tail's flopping around on my table in front of me? When I fish, I look at it and I go, oh, I caught this fish. Cool. I throw them back in. Go back with your family, bro. I don't need to eat that thing. Adam Dowling scared the hell out of me the other day. He went somewhere fancy for dinner. He sent me a picture. It's just a fish on a plate. It's just a full fish. Scales and tails. Ooh, he's flopping around. How are you gonna? You know what's insulting, bro? This is what's insulting. How can you eat something when their eyeballs staring right at you? How can you? I don't have it in me to eat this fish laying there and his tail's flopping on one end and his eyeballs looking, and you're digging in, you're buttering him up, and you're kind of looking at that fish's eye, seeing if it's going to start blinking and moving around the room, following you. like Mona Lisa. You know what I'm saying? No. Scales and Tails would be a good name for a seafood place. I'm telling you, man. You know what's not a good name for a seafood place? Red Lobster. I never liked it. I don't like it. You go in a Red Lobster and it smells like a funeral home and a raw fish collection site. That's what it smells like. Oh, you're in the lobby. Oh, I know what you could do. Pick your dinner out of this musty seaweed fish tank where the things are crawling around. It scares me the way some people look at those things in that tank. Oh, I want that one. How do you know which one you want? And you're and it's all dirty. Oh, we'll take that one and fry them right up for you. What? Nobody gets a burger in the couch in the lobby. Red Lobster. Overpriced too, by the way. Don't appreciate it. All right, we're getting off the trail here. We're getting J Grizz. Red Lobster cheddar biscuits are top notch. Yeah, and you'll be tasting them in your mouth for about a week and a half with all that garlic. I'm serious, too much garlic. You can see it baked in there. You're breathing fire for a week and a half after you eat them things. Give me the Texas Roadhouse regular bread with the cinnamon butter. Ooh, now we're talking. Anyways, Jay Carr, I only eat lobsters out of a tank at high-end restaurants. By the way, Jay Carr, that reminds me, there's a few different people for a few different reasons that reached out to me that asked about getting candles lit at the grotto. So I got a few of them lit the other day. So just know, if you're on that list and you needed that or whatever for your peace of mind, I got it done, and I think we're good to go there. So grotto prayers count double. They count double. All right, let me get through one thing, and then we'll go to the calls, and we'll see if I get back to my list. But I hate making people wait to call in the morning. I got to realize people are at work. If you're Dr. John, you got a tea time. I got to realize all that stuff. Bang, bang, shrimp. I don't know what that means. Sounds like something you don't want to type in the internet. I don't know what that means, but I ain't looking it up. All right. Here, I just want to clarify something real quick. Super clarification here. And then we'll get into the calls and we'll go back to my list of the high end, low end of Notre Dame this year. People keep sending me explanations of why it makes sense for USC to drop Notre Dame. I got emails on it, the comments in my videos, whatever, Patreon. I keep getting sent, I'm freaking, I do my little rants about it, whatever. And people are like, obviously it makes sense why they don't want to do this. If they do, especially if they do Tex ND, that's good. Oh, that's good. Mark, he came at you. That's good, Tex. If Notre Dame, or if the Big Ten and the SEC make that one game agreement that's being rumored of, and then USC has Notre Dame, that means they'd play 11 of 12 essentially Power 4 games. That's a tough ask for anybody at whatever. Like, I get it. I totally get it. Here's my point I need people to understand. I understand the logical reasons of why USC might do this. I still just don't like it happening. Is that hard to understand? I understand the logical rationalizations. I understand the modern realities and the practicalities of the future playoff and the scheduling model. I totally understand all that. It's not like I'm saying I don't understand why USC is doing this. Someone educate me. I get it. I just don't like it. I totally get the theory. It's a fair theory. I still am not going to like it. And I'm still going to be mad at them for doing it. And then we'll keep it moving. I don't know, but I don't need another email saying you got to understand the new scheduling model. I get it. I just still don't like it. Why is that so hard to understand? Like, I just don't want to deal with it. And I'll just, you know what, you guys, how about this? Catch me outside. How about that? How about this? It'll just make me sad. Is that not a fair response by your boy here every single day? It'll just make me sad. And is that okay for me to just have a little period here to adjust my mind to not having them to look forward to on the schedule every year? And here's one more thing, and we'll bring it to the calls. This is a big deal to me because it's deeper than football. To me, it's deeper than football. I see a lot of responses that are like, you're going to build a great rivalry with a really good Clemson program. Now you can open it up and play other teams, and like this could be healthy and good, and times change and we all got to adjust and move on and all this crap. I get it. Nothing can replace Notre Dame USC, though. You could have a back and forth. The next 12 Clemson games could be 6 Clemson wins, 6 Notre Dame wins, back and forth. Playoff caliber football, amazing. Whatever, fine. It isn't going to be USC. That's all fine. It's not going to be USC. And it's never going to be the battle of contending value structures that Notre Dame USC provides. It ain't about football. It's about contending values and ways of life and the way you live. And it's important to me that the Notre Dame side comes out on top when it comes to we're comparing values and ways of life and ways to put together a football team. It's just nothing's ever going to replace that. And that hurts me. I'm fueled by that kind of intensity. I live for that juice where it's deeper than just on the football field. It's about competing value systems. And I'm going to miss it. So whatever, man. So that's the only thing I'm going to say. Quit sending me messages explaining to me like I don't understand why this is happening. I get it. I just don't like it. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. Dr. John, Tim, I want to hear from you. I didn't get to you the other day. What's going on, Doc?
Well, I'll tell you what. It's a beautiful day here in Big Sky, as I put in chat. But believe it or not, I've got 3 football topics to talk about. But what do you want to talk about first?
Oh, I don't know. People are getting a little wild with the USC stuff. And it's just like, you got to understand this time of the year, people are going to run with any story and max it out. And that's what you're seeing now from the national media and the local. It's a hot story, and people are hitting it hard. I'll just be sad to see it go. That's all.
Well, that was USC was one of my topics, and I think it would be a shame for college football if we don't play them every year. I mean, it's like, what if Ohio State doesn't play Michigan? What if Army doesn't play Navy? It's like, I mean, I'll be dead, but you guys are going to have to suffer through it. So
yeah, it's tough, man. It just hurts. Like, these rivalries are what make college football really, really click. These kind of rivalries are why people that love this sport love it so intensely. And it's just a sign of the modern times, Doc. And you know what I wrote about last night? I had a good little writing session at like midnight. Everything struck me in my brain. It's like, I get why this is all happening. And some of it, Doc, is as much fun as we all had watching that 12-team playoff, as much fun as we all had watching the expanded SEC beat up on each other and the expanded Big Ten beat up on each other, as much fun as we all had enjoying that, riding high, eating fat all through the fall and in through the winter, there was always going to be a bill due for that. And I think we're starting to figure out what some of those tabs are going to look like. whether it be losing a rivalry game, conference championships looking like an inconvenience nobody wants to be in anymore when they used to be the end all be all. Regular season games are going to mean less the more you expand the playoff. Like, there were always going to be downstream consequences to some of these decisions we made. And I just think you're starting to see it.
Well, getting back to USC specifically, there's no other national rivalry like that. I think we're the only interregional rivalry.
What about?
Can you think of another one?
Well, I'm also trying to think of ones that are out of conference. That's the other thing, because you could think of these big rivalries, but a lot of them are in conference. So, how about like Clemson, South Carolina, because they're in the same region, and then you have an SEC and an ACC. How about that?
That's not interregional.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
it's next door. It's the same state.
I mean, well, I guess I was thinking of it the other way, of finding ones that are like close and have the rivalry, but they're not in the same conference, right? Like it's so I'm going to be sad, Doc. I love that rivalry and I love that hatred. And I love even Doc, even the pictures of the colors, like the contrasting their stuff and our stuff. It looks pretty, kind of like USC, UCLA. I always love that color clash there. I love everything about it. But if this doesn't work out, we'll move on. And I don't know what you do. But I'm going to give them a hard time if they're the ones bowing out. There's no way around it. Even if I understand the reasons for it, I'm going to give them a hard time.
I have seen Notre Dame play USC more than any other team. I'm talking about live. I've probably seen 8 games, two in LA. Anyway, that horse is dead. Nothing's been decided though, for sure, has it? Is there something I've missed?
No, nothing's been decided. Okay. A lot of speculation and just a lot of heat there and a lot of smoke. And once you get guys like Pat Forty and these top level national guys writing about it, that kind of tells me it's a lot more real than I want to think. And so, yeah, I understand the modern practicalities of it. I totally understand why. I'm just not going to like it. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, nothing. Okay, I got to deal with 2 things that were said or chatted on Monday. Was that West Palm Pat that called in?
Yes, he did.
Okay, he made this. It's so amazing how he can crawl into somebody else's mind. I don't think anybody else on earth can do that, but. When he said Swarbrick didn't give a rat's ass about, I think it was holding on to USC, that's BS. That is just BS. Swarbrick is a grad. I'm sure he cares probably more than Pat does about everything Notre Dame. Anyway, that bothered the hell out of me.
Fair enough.
Now. That done with that, but now I got to correct. His screen name is Pilney.
Yeah,
and I think he gave a super chat, and he made the statement that almost all Notre Dame Heisman winners are quarterbacks. And I know what he's trying to do is justify this whole hype about, we need a quarterback to light this place up. But if you look at it realistically, we've got 7 Heisman winners, and I'm going to say we have 3.5 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
we have Bertelli, Lou Jack, and after that came Leon Hart, a lineman, and Johnny Latner, running back. I'll skip 56 for a minute, and then go to Hewitt, a quarterback. Now you got 3. But then you've got Timmy Brown, a wide receiver, so it's 3 and 3 at this point.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the 56 winner, he played quarterback, but he was really a running back.
Yeah.
Paul Hornung.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it still true that he's the only guy to ever win a Heisman on a losing team? I still believe that stat holds true, that he's the only guy who's ever won that award on a team that had a losing record. I still believe that stands.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. It would never happen now. It could just never be now. That's wild to me still that stat stands.
I checked it the other day. I told you I did some fun lists, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to have Tom Frawley's email. And I did get an email from him, John.
There you go. Thank you. Good. You made the connection.
Actually, I should have prefaced this whole quarterback thing. It should have been Tom Frawley's Chicago accent telling that story, but
yeah.
Anyway, one of the lists I made the other day was how many Heisman Trophy winners I've actually seen play live, and it's a dozen.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good record.
Only two were quarterbacks.
It's interesting. Any of them stand out to you?
Besides
ours.
Johnny Hewart, Matt Leinart.
There you go. Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
That's it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
The one that's obscure that I saw, my brothers and my dad and I saw George Rogers from South Carolina play at Notre Dame. So,
wow, man, that's a lot of history, Doc. It'll be, I don't know, it'd be sad. It'd be sad if this goes away. It would just suck. I'm just saying it'd be sad. I understand it.
Oh, I just saw West Palm Pat's little super chat. Well, you got $10 out of it anyway.
Yeah,
I'll take credit. I'll take credit for half of that.
I like that. My favorite one, Doc, is when people donate to be mean to the host. I absolutely love it. I'm like, you're going to donate $10 to insult me? Keep it coming. Like, that always cracks me up. I'm not saying WPP's not doing that, but some people do, and it always cracks me up. I'm like, if you're going to pay $10 or $20 to make fun of me, let it fly, brother. Go for it.
Well, I think more than my 5 minutes is up, buddy. So have a great rest of the show.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Talk to you soon, okay?
Have a good one, man. Take it easy, Doc. It's the good Doc. The good Doc. Who was Notre Dame's last Heisman finalist? Unless I'm incorrect, was it not Manti Te'o in 2012? Maybe I'm missing somebody, but I believe the last one that was the real deal was Manti Te'o in 2012, and we all know how weird that whole story ended up being. Swarbrick cared so much for ND, allowed Kelly to keep that job after 2016. What a ridiculous take. Swarbrick, a bigger loser than Kelly. Swarbrick kissed the buttocks of Kelly. What did he get to show for it? A fart in the face as he slipped down to LSU. Unbelievable. Tim, what's going on, buddy?
How you doing? Still a little depressed, but getting over it. Sunday was rough.
Yeah, I know. I do have. There's a decent contingent of my people that were really into the lacrosse. And that meltdown at the second half, or whatever you want to call, however they break it up in lacrosse, not ideal.
Man, it's Penn State. They've caused a lot of football pain. I mean, when I was there, Notre Dame was in contention to win a national title, and they took us out twice in the 80s. Holt's second year, and then and when Rockets last year in 90. So it's Penn State, and I have no respect for that school. They should have gotten the death penalty.
Yeah, it's I completely understand your vitriol towards them. Tim, what about USC? What do you make about this? I know you're going to have opinions, and I don't remember us really talking about this on the air. What do you make of it?
I have not. I'm glad. I agree 100% with you, and I'm just trying to use your coattails. If we dropped it, I would have been really, really annoyed. The fact they're doing it, it just shows what they're doing. But that also ties into my other topic I want to bring up. Is scheduling. So yeah, I'm going to miss USC, but they've caused a lot of pain. You got to move on. What can we do? We're not controlling it. We're not dropping it. We can't put a gun to their head and say you got to play us.
Yeah. It's I think here's what I'm starting to think, Tim. The larger scale concern here is something Andrew Gilmore's been bringing up, which is you're looking down the line at those future schedules that have Texas on it. They have Alabama on it. They have Florida on it, for instance, and then some Big Ten teams. The larger scale concern is if the USC thing is the start of all this, and it's a big hit because it's the rivalry game. But what if those other conferences and the other teams are looking at it the same way USC does? And then Florida and Texas and Alabama are like, yeah, now that we're thinking about it, we don't want to play you either. That's where my fear's starting to go, like away from the sadness of USC. But what if those other teams do the same? Where does that leave Notre Dame at that point, scheduling wise? That's a larger scale discussion.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't have a counterpoint on you. You're right.
Yeah, I mean that's where my mind's at. Is like I'm already starting to move past the USC thing, but I'm like, what if it doesn't stop there? Then I'm looking at those schedules that look juicy down the road, and if they do that, yeah, Purdue, Michigan State, Wisconsin, they're all on the schedule, plus all those SEC teams. If they all say we can't do this, does that back Notre Dame into a corner? They're not going to join the ACC. Bavak was a TV guy, and he's way too smart to jump in bed in a bad TV deal. It would make no logical sense. Is that the final nail in the coffin that sends Notre Dame running to the Big Ten? Like, that's where my mind's extrapolating this out down the line.
I wish I could counter you, but I think you're right, and I'll be depressed as hell. I'll be really, really down.
Yeah, I know you will. I know you will. And I've gotten messages. Ooh, it was WPP the other day, put a message in, and I remember it. And he just said, being independent is not like what Notre Dame does. It's who Notre Dame is. And you have a large portion of this fan base that traditionally is going to really, really struggle with that. And I'm a part of it. It would feel like you couldn't win it your way, and you had to kind of cave to a group that wasn't welcoming to you before. It would feel bad, but the actual schedules would be very interesting and entertaining, and people would move on. They would. There would be a lot of bitching and complaining, and then people will move on and like the Big Ten scheduling. That's what would happen.
Well, we used to play it. I mean, when in the whole fair, our first 3 games were always Big Ten games.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
I just don't like the fact that you brought up several times that because of being and I'm a practicing Catholic. Their bigotry towards Catholics is why we didn't get into Big Ten.
Yep. Yeah.
We have some 3 separate different times. That's why I get so disgusted. It's like, no, we're not going to call up the Big Ten. I wanted to throw up. I was already in a bad one. We should call up the Big Ten and agree to play 1 game every year in one of their home stadiums. No. Have you lost your damn mind? I mean, come on. If we're forced in, we're forced in, but let's get forced in. But you've got too much of a younger fan base, because I figure I'm probably your 5th oldest caller, that want us to go to the Big Ten, and that's the cool thing to do. No, it's not the cool thing to do. It may be the thing we have to do, but it's not the cool thing to do.
Yeah, and you know what? I wonder, Tim, I've asked this question as well, and I don't have a really good answer. I don't know if some of this is generational. If you're in your 20s, you are too young for even push. Those people have never seen what it's like when USC dominates the landscape in college football. And that LA media thing really gets cranked up behind them when they're really good and they're dominating the sport, and what that makes us feel and look like. Like if you're in your 20s right out of college, you were probably too young for any of this. And it's like you never, and you don't know what that pain's like when USC is at the top of the sport and you're Notre Dame. So some of it, I wonder if it's generationally the older folks that have more memories with this rivalry and pain from the USC side. I'm wondering if it's going to hurt them more than some younger kids that look at USC and go, yeah, it's a rivalry, but I haven't really seen them be good in my lifetime, so I don't value them the same way. Like, I don't know if that's fair or unfair, if I'm being ageist. I don't know.
I've seen it both ways. I was in a stretch where, because we didn't lose to them when I was there, where we rattled off, I believe it was 11 straight wins, and then Holt's losses last year, 96. And then unfortunately, my dad passed away, and then that was the last time we won till Carroll came into town, because we beat him the first year we played him, and then I believe USC won 9 straight. So I've seen the ebbs and flows of the thing. So it'll be a tough series to see go away, but we're not the ones doing it. So, and then before I let you go, on scheduling, you can't play 12 tough games. Hopefully, the way you set it up, because let's face it, the ultimate goal is to win a national title. And now that you expand and have to play 16 games to win it all, you can't play a killer team every week. You try to, I think, ideally, is you try to set up 4 games, 2 on the road, 2 at home. If you can go 3-1, you're for sure in. If you go 2-2, then you're debatable. You got a shot to get in, and that should be your ultimate goal. That's how you have to set up schedule. I don't want to hear, oh, the schedule's crap, and it's this. It's this. No, the ultimate goal, if you're a true Notre Dame fan, is that you want to put yourself in the best position to make the playoffs. That's new college football.
Yeah,
and I don't understand that.
Okay, wait. Now, a part of that, you're giving USC credit then, right? Because if you're taking that angle for us, by default, you have to then have an understanding of USC's doing the same thing, looking at their schedule, and the equation tells them to drop us, right? So you're kind of acknowledging you totally get where they're coming from. If you're going that angle with us, you got to give that grace to them too, right?
You're right.
I just want to make sure we're staying consistent. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, do you disagree with that? Isn't the goal ultimately should be? And you never know how teams are because they project these things 8 years out.
Well, here's my answer to that. Totally fair. I've said that before when Notre Dame schedules get ripped, and I will point to the big brand name helmets that were on the schedule years before the game was played. And my argument always is, Tim, why is it our fault? We schedule a big helmet and they're not good enough to compete with us. That doesn't mean we scheduled weak. That means a brand name helmet didn't hold up their part of the deal. That's not our fault.
You're 100% right. Or they can't do basic math and we get penalized.
Now, okay, here's the question, Tim. Here's the moving equation where you got to thread the needle. Here's the big question. How do you build out a schedule that is plenty challenging and would demand national respect without overdoing it to where you're clearly crossing a line to where you're putting yourself backed up against a wall with like 5 night games in a row against big teams and they're all prime time or whatever? Like there's got to be a responsible approach to that, to where you really can't play 11 great teams in a row. And then so what is that line between challenging yourself, but not overdoing it to where you put yourself against the wall? I think that's a fair equation to have to put the input and output in.
I'd go with my number: 2 at home, 2 on the road. If you can find 4 teams, and whether that be a Michigan, whether that would be an SEC, like we're playing Arkansas. I don't know what Boise State's going to be this year, but if you can do it, try to find that way. You have 2 on the road and 2 at home, and then you're going to put Navy in there, and then you have your ACC schools. And figure hopefully maybe one of those ends up having a good year, like a North Carolina State or a Boston College, something like that. I think that you could even try to push it if you wanted to go 3-2, 5 tough games. I mean, really tough games.
Yeah.
I think that's your fair line. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I don't know. And the other thing is you got to do this delicate dance with your ACC deal, right? So like in a way, Tim, that's helpful. In a way, it's helpful because that's always a safe home base kind of backstop if you need to fill a schedule. So there's some support in that, but also kind of some constraints in that because the ACC doesn't excite many people other than the top 3 teams. Miami, Florida State, Clemson. That's pretty much the only 3 that move the needle for anybody outside of that. So, and it's that weird dance where you have 1 foot in that conference and 1 out. It's weird.
But I thought that was something before the Clemson deal was signed, that we were agreed to play 2 of those 3 every year.
Yeah.
I thought I saw something.
You did. Yeah, you did. You definitely did.
You got that. And I know you and I disagree on this one, but you got to throw Boston College in there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I mean, I have no problem with that. But I mean,
BC moves the needle for me, trust me.
But I'm not talking about the emotional needle. I'm talking about the good football team needle, right? Those are different needles.
Maybe.
I understand that you lay in the fetal position and cry about 93 all the time, but I'm talking about, I know you do at the end. What are you, 50 something, 60 years old, and you're crying at night? I can't believe that kick went in, and I can't believe that they called that penalty on us that moved the ball on that drive. I know, and you know why I know it? Because my dad's that way. I've never seen that. It was like the only time I was ever scared of my dad growing up. It was that moment. I'll never forget that reaction. I was like, I was too young to fully get it, but I knew something really bad happened.
I'm 58, so yes.
Yeah.
you nailed it. That was you nailed it. Well, the key is, you brought it up, was that what set up that whole drive was the phony roughing call.
Yeah, it was.
Or for the love of God, linebacker, could you hold on to the ball?
Catch it. My dad's reaction to that penalty was, I've never seen him matter in my entire life, in real life situations or football. I've never seen him more mad. I'll never forget it, and God love him for it.
Yeah, but I don't know. You make a very interesting point. Are people going to do the same model and start dropping us to really force us? Because if they want to put the screws to us, they could.
Yes, exactly.
They don't want to schedule us.
Hey, that's exactly what I had in my mind late last night when I was writing. And I was just thinking, if anybody has this conspiratorial thing that the powers that be and now the big two are going to start squeezing Notre Dame, now might be the angle to do it. And what you do is, you let USC do it first, catch all the heat for this because it's the rivalry. You let USC do it and catch all the heat. And then on the back end, those Big Ten and SEC teams slowly back out of those agreements. And then Notre Dame's got big decisions to make. And Pete Pavakwa's got to make his money worth it and come up with the best solution. That is the downstream bad scenario we could end up in. I don't know how realistic it is.
He could just give them the finger and say, okay, we'll go to a week conference and just dominate it every year and lock up our bid.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll do that because the money wouldn't pay out. I get that. They probably would not do that.
Yeah, I
still think
tough.
Notre Dame's still a big enough draw. If you look at, like, when we went down to Georgia, it wasn't for an SEC game. It was for us, where they had to put in extra. I think it was like 20,000 extra seats. We're still the biggest draw on people's road schedule. Or when we go on the road is what I mean.
Yeah, man, listen, I see some people on Twitter saying, screw Notre Dame. Who do they think they are? It's not that big a deal to play Notre Dame. Why do these people even schedule them to begin with? Blah, 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 blah. I'm seeing a lot of that on Twitter from the Notre Dame haters and the people that do content that don't like Notre Dame. I'm seeing a lot of that. Like, who the hell do they think they are? The reality is, Notre Dame puts eyes on TV sets and it puts butts in seats. And it always has, and it always will. And it isn't because everybody loves Notre Dame. It's because half the people love Notre Dame and the other half are watching to see Notre Dame lose. But the fact is the fact. They move the damn needle. And even the people that hate Notre Dame, you're a part of why the needle moves, because of the Notre Dame hatred. It all ends up in the same TV number, whether you're for them or against them.
You nailed it.
So, you know what I mean? It is the people that hate Notre Dame the most are part of why the TV rankings are so good, because you want to see us.
Unfortunately, you're right. And I nod my head and say a prayer for him. I said, okay, you hate us, but thank you, because that's why we have the national following. That's why I know there's years, John, with our home games on NBC and the road games. We're not on a cable network. We're on you don't need a satellite or anything outside of this Peacock deal before that was around. But there were years where Notre Dame was on national TV every week. No other school can say that.
Yeah.
And if we're not relevant, are you kidding? Now, it does shock me, though. Sorry if I cut you off. The national championship game between two juggernauts, Ohio State and Notre Dame, that the ratings were that bad. That surprised the hell out of me. I know you had the inauguration going on, but still, that just shocked me that they were that bad.
Yeah.
If I'm college football, I'm going, uh-oh.
Yeah, that's a little strange. Maybe there was a lot going on that night. I don't know. It's whatever. I just want us to get back there. So, Tim, I don't know where this is going to go. You got to stay fluid. Pete Pavakwa's got a tough job. That's how I'm going to wrap this up, Tim. Pete Pavakwa's
and I have one question.
Sure. Go ahead.
What's your high end? I think our high end is 11-1 because I've thought about this. Not that I get depressed when we lose. I don't want to ever lose a game. However, I think it's because let's face it, it's only been done once in the pros. You can't go 16-0. So you got to figure go 11-1. That'll lock up your 5 seed or at worst maybe a 6 seed, and then you got hopefully you can maybe finally win the 4 in the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's the high end. Low end, we start out 0-2, and our season's done before Halloween.
Yeah, you're kind of you're tracking on my list here. You're pretty darn close to where I have this. And
Rudolph. If we're done 0-2, Rudolph can stay in the North Pole.
Yeah, exactly. And you're on it with some of the downside of what I could see going sideways. You could end up with a really, really good Notre Dame team by the end of the year that's out of playoff contention. On the low end, you struggle early. The quarterback struggles early. The O-line isn't set, whatever. You could end up in a position with a really good Notre Dame team that's just too far out of it to get back in it if you don't navigate early in this season healthily. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right, dude. I appreciate you giving me the time, and you have a great day.
Oh, have a good one, man. You're always welcome to call and text me angry things. That is Tim's therapy. He texts John very angry Notre Dame thoughts, and I love every one of them. Tony, he's back in the USA. Isn't that, dude? I don't want to be pride in the United States, but that Bruce Springsteen Born in the USA is really annoying. It is really annoying. It sounds to me like it's like out of key. I've never liked that song. I like America. I love America. But that Born in the USA song is annoying to me. It sounds like something like a 5th grader would make in music class. It sounds like something's off with the music and the singing. I never liked it. I think it sounds grating in my head. It's like yelling, Born in the USA. I just think it's annoying, man. I just do. So maybe that's just me, but I have weird music takes too. Tony, he's a world traveler. The guy, Glory Days bad too. We could do just like the food thing. You could throw me songs, and I guarantee I hate some of the most popular songs in the world. I hate, absolutely hate. Jay Carr, going to the hospital. Have a good show. Oh, I'm just picturing Jay Carr. He chopped his arm off or something doing yard work, listening to the show. All right, I'm going to the hospital. Good show. He's got an arm that's loose, hanging loose. There's a lot of popular songs I hate. I just can't. Yeah, Sweet Caroline is number one. It's absolutely number one. I hate it. It's sung out of key. It's out of tune. I know it's for his dad. It just crossed. It was just funny when I read it. I'm going to the hospital. It's like, oh crap. I don't do Sweet Caroline is one of the worst songs that ever got popular. It is made for drunk white people to scream at an event. I hate it. It's annoying. It's sung out of key, out of tune. Also, what the subject matter is illegal, borderline illegal. If you know the history of that, it's about him fantasizing about an underage Carolyn Kennedy. Completely just a perverted song, by the way, and out of key, out of tone. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Every wedding I'm at, the reception, there's 800 drunk white people want to yell it. I'm going outside. I'm having a cigar. I'm taking a leak. I can't handle it. Brown Eyed Girl's kind of annoying too. It's something about it's annoying too. I don't know. I don't like it. Freebird, I'm down with Skinner. I'm not going to have a problem with it. I'm not going to have a problem with that. I'm down with Skinner and Ronnie Van Zant's a real head man. I'm down with that. The drunk Bostoner, I don't even know what that means, so I'm not that mad at that. But yeah, Sweet Caroline's number one. You know what else is on the list? Dancing Queen. I can't handle Dancing Queen. It's like, and there's something about Dancing Queen. Yeah, YMCA, clearly, obviously. Wedding stuff is really annoying. We Are Family and everybody's drunk 80-year-old aunts out there dancing. Get a grip. I'm not here for that. Oh, don't you get it? We're at a wedding and there's two family and now we are family and your 78-year-old drunk grandma needs to go break a hip out there on the dance floor, cutting a rug. Get it? We are family. Oh, yeah, I get it. What are you on your mind? The electric slide. I give myself the electric chair before I do the electric slide. How about that? Seriously, give me a break. So that's my thought on that. You know what another bad one is? Here's a bad one. This is terrible. Every callers, I'm coming to you, I promise. Here's another one that I can't handle. What's country roads? I don't even know what that means. What is country roads? People are putting it in. What does that mean? Yeah, cha-cha, real smooth. Watch me cha-cha to the bar to get a drink while everybody else is doing that. No. Anyways, don't do that to me, Kent. You're going to ruin my youth. Don't do it to me. Yeah, everybody clap your hands. I don't need you telling me what to do. I'll do what I want. I'll do what I want. Here's the other one that's bad. The other one that's terrible. Drunk white weddings. This happens every single time. It's drunk white weddings. Cotton Eye Joe. I can't. I leave the entire building. I can't. That is exclusively something you play to entertain drunk white people at a wedding. Every single stupid wedding. And it's a bunch of drunk white guys out there dancing with each other. I can't handle it. Cotton Eye Joe, give me a break. But that dancing queen, the thing about it is you can, it's a certain type of girl too. You ever notice that? Whenever the dance, it's always like that kind of free-spirited hippie type girl that wants to play dancing queen. And then we doing a twirl. I don't like that stupid song. YMCA. I just can't. The Macarena, somebody said, did you ever see that tape? I think it was a Democratic National Convention in 92 when that song first came out. And they had all the Clintons and everybody that was at the DNC. They played it at the DNC, and you had all those politicians doing all the Macarena stuff. I just can't handle it, dude. I can't handle it. A Cotton Eye John, that's a different song. Everybody likes that song. I just can't. I can't do it, man. It's bad. And the funny part about this is a lot of this stuff I've exclusively only seen where there's large amounts of drunk white people. I can't handle it. One of my friends got married. I went to there was 2 wedding receptions in the same building. And they were playing Cotton Eye Joe and all this stuff in one. And I go, I can't handle it. So I leave. I walk down a little bit. Oh, I'm hearing like Rick James and I'm hearing some good stuff coming from there. I walked right in there. I took my Miller Lite and I went right in the other wedding I wasn't invited to. I started cutting rugs with those people and they welcomed me and they were playing better music. And I wandered right in there. Yeah, the electric slide. Your grandma needed an electric wheelchair. She tries that one at your wedding. I just can't do it. I did crash that wedding. They were slightly alerted at first, but once they saw that I could move and groove, I was welcomed into the group. Anyways, my main man, Martinez, if you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. What's up?
Hey, Johnny, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, bro?
Not much.
I'm having trouble hearing you. You're in a well again.
Sorry, Johnny. Can you hear me now?
There you go. It's a little better. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better. Thanks.
Hold on, What about now, Johnny? Can you hear me now?
You're good to go. Thank you.
All right. Hey, man. To touch on the thumbnail, the best and worst case scenario for Notre Dame. First of all, best case we all know, win the national title. Right? Win the national title. Our misery for 37 years over. Johnny grows his hair back.
Ooh.
You know, people that have been waiting to die can die happy. Best case scenario, we win the national title.
Yeah, I like that. And now, okay, now wait a second. I want to build this out.
Go ahead.
For Notre Dame to reach that high end, you're going to need, number one is that quarterback's going to have to hit early. That is a requirement to me that whoever the young new starting quarterback is for Notre Dame to make a deep run, they got to hit early. There can't be a long running up curve, a lot of pick sixes while we're learning to read a defense with the speed of the modern game. No. You're going to have to ease into that pretty smoothly. That's a big deal.
Very true, Johnny. Yeah, we're gonna have to finally have a true leader, that quarterback that we've all been wanting. That no more rent-a-cop quarterbacks, 1 years, right? The one that's gonna be like, hey, 1, 2 national titles, get us back into the guy that we could depend on. Brady Quinn, as good as he was, man. I don't know, maybe it was the coaching couldn't get us over that big hump, the hump on that big game, right? Ian Book, same thing. I think who called them the champion stat collectors that never did nothing. I think it was a Tom Frawley or Dr. John that called them that. I can't remember. One of the old school guys called them that. But yeah, that's one thing Miami does have. Beck has a chip on his shoulder. He's a seasoned quarterback. And as much as I respect what Andrew says, he has played in the SEC, which I care less for. I've told you that over and over. I heard a few things you said, and but let's stay on this topic. I'm sorry, I don't want to get all over. But yeah, I think that's the best case is that we have to have that quarterback, that they made the right decision in going with these young guys, and that they're not scared to go in there and punch somebody in the mouth either. Even if, like you said, if they throw a pick, but they can bounce back from it. They throw a pick. It looks like maybe, it's not going their way, but they can stay resilient. They can stay poised, and they can say, hey, we're going into Miami Hurricanes Stadium, and we're winning this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's I'm with you, man. And another part of the high end is that defense needs to be good again. You cannot backslide on the defense. You need that running game to be good. You need the O-line to come together, and you need a quarterback and a wide receiver group that do better than what we've been getting. And it's a lot to line up, but it's not unrealistic if the right things happen.
Do you think that the O-line's not going to gel, Johnny, the way it's been gelling year in, year out?
I think it will, but the question is, how long does it take? That's my answer. I believe they will. I believe they will, but you don't have 7 weeks to be able to do it and catch a couple losses while you're doing it. You've got to be good enough that you can win while you're putting that project together, and that's easier said than done.
No, and very true, but Johnny, have we not been proven wrong through Rudolph? Did not Tom Frawley last season said, hey, we're going to be fine, right? He says we got Rocco Spindler and the kids that got beat out and the kids that got hurt. Tom Frawley, I remember the show back before we went into A&M, and Tom Frawley pointed out of all the backups that we've had that had sufficient experience in starting and had a few starts that prior to the Texas A&M game, and I think we were proven wrong, right? We were proven wrong because we thought, we lost the two studs. We lost Blake Fisher, Big Joe All, right? And then another guy, and we were all worried. And then, look at what this line, performed. To me, they performed better than the last few years, right? Because they got us to where we hadn't been in 12 years, and we able to win 2 big games, 3 big games, 2 on the road, one at home, and get back in a sense where we want to be. So I think Kyle Rudolph's going to do a great job of gelling them together, Johnny. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's I believe they're going to get put together. It's just, how long is it going to take? And so I don't know, man. There's just a lot of it's just interesting. It's going to be a unique challenge. All of America's watching you night one. There's no other games in town. It's just you.
I agree. Worst case scenario, like Tim said, we do start 0-2, and there goes our season. And then the only way we can save it is that we go on to a New Year's Six bowl and kick the shit out of whatever SEC team they pin us up against. That's worst case. We go 0-2, to Miami, Texas A&M. People ridicule us like they once did. Our season's over, and the only way we resurrect it is by winning the next 10 games, get into a New Year's Six and kick the shit out of whatever second or third place or fourth place SEC teams. That's my worst case, scenario.
Yeah, it's man, it's and the front-loaded nature of nature of this schedule combined with the new moving parts is really interesting. So we're gonna see, man. It's gonna be high intrigue with a lot to watch.
Yes, sir, Johnny. And one last thing, man. I know there's always I can respect the rivalry USC, especially, you and I are old enough to see the Bush push. Like I said, I was in prison and the whole freaking section was ruined for Notre Dame because of my passion for Notre Dame. And, I think that's as far as back as one of the greatest games to ever be played on college football turf. I think any sports fan can agree. And Dr. John hit it. You do need your Ohio State, Michigan, your Notre Dame's, USC's, your Alabama, Georgia's. You do need them. You produce great players on both schools. Have produced some of the most storied players that revolutionized football, period, from the pros on down.
Yeah, and don't you have don't Notre Dame and USC, maybe I'm wrong, but I believe they have the most draft picks of all time and the most all Hall of Famers of all time are those two schools. Sly, that's bad. I believe in those two schools, man, have a lot of history together.
No, and they did. I think they did up until till the SEC rigged it for Alabama to stay on top forever, beating up, 4 little brothers, every season. But they did. Like I said, you had Junior Seau, Marcus Allen, O.J. Simpson, Anthony Munoz, Keyshawn Johnson. The list goes on and on with USC. With us, you had the bus, man. You had Ricky Waters, Joe Montana, Tim Brown. You had people that revolutionized football, period. And so to lose that rivalry is going to be a big blow to college football. And but like you say, like my good friend Johnny Kennedy says, you can't, from the powers that be, man, the money from the powers that be. And the one last thing I'm gonna touch on, Johnny, I get the whole conference thing, but I'm with Tim. I'm only 43 years old, so I'm only a few years older than you. I'm with Tim though, and it's like, huh? Okay, on my way right now. And what they say. The more we keep talking about Notre Dame during the conference, the more it's going to happen, Johnny.
Yeah.
But we don't need to be in a conference, man. We don't. And the only reason conference championships are even there is because, remember, the SEC did it just to get an extra game, just to put them higher in the rankings to get us the national title. They've rigged it. There was no conference title games up until, 89, 90? There was none, Johnny. None. Remember that. If you know your football history, there was no conference games up until those years. But Johnny, the crew's calling, man. I love you. Thank you for taking my call, man. Onward Notre Dame, man. I can't wait for the show on Friday. You know what I mean? Love you, buddy. Love the chat, man. You guys, great morning, great show so far, Johnny. Onward Notre Dame.
Have a good one. Thanks for calling, man. I appreciate people risking arm and leg to call in during work. I appreciate that. That's risky. Also, I gotta say this too. I thought I had a bad night on Bush Push. I wasn't watching it for prison, at least. I had the joy. I had the pleasure of being there in person. So there's some perspective for you. As crappy as I thought that night went for me, I wasn't watching it for prison. God bless you. God bless you. 443-407 are both coming up. Here's the other thing, man. I'm just going to throw this. I'm just going to slide. That's good. That's well done. One of my favorite David Gilmour solos, actually, from that song, Brick in the Wall Part 2. It's a clean lick. And I like me some David Gilmour. Only thing that ever calms my blood pressure, David Gilmour solos. I found it. Better than any medicine. The only thing that calms me down is the Gilmour solo. I love them and watch them on YouTube all the time. Here's the first. I'm not making this a big thing. I'm just going to say it once and we'll move on. Don't come into my chat and even reference anything like racist. You're gone. So Ronnie is dancing around with trouble enough that he's gone for the day. So he needs to have a break and go away, even if it's not direct. There's a couple things he said that I don't like. Don't hit me right. And you're not going to do that to my people. Don't be stupid. I let a lot of things go here. There's certain lines where it isn't going to happen. Don't do that. So he could take a little break, go clean out the fryer, and then whatever. Am I going to the USC game? Probably not. Too big of a game for me to give up the YouTube revenue for. If I go to a game, I lose money. It's just I'm in a bad situation where there's no winning solution there, you guys. It's just, I go to games and I lose money. So it's just very, very hard. I do the tailgate game and then that's probably it. Where's my friend Jake the Snake? Get that anaconda out of my area. I've never seen a snake. This is Illinois. I'm not in the Everglades. I'm not in the Everglades. Why do I got a snake this big hanging around my house? Son of a buck. I almost had a stroke. I saw that snake. 443, welcome to the show. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. What's going on?
What up, Johnny? How you doing?
What's going on?
Oh, ain't none. Just doing a little shop work today. Raining, nasty day. Anyway, the USC thing, it was bound to happen because Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma to evade the SEC schedule. So when the Pac-12 folded, the first game he could try to eliminate is us because he didn't sign up to be in the Big Ten and deal with Ohio State and all that. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
And as far as the U.S. the joining a conference, I think it's going to be forced and inevitable. No one wants it, but it's going to be forced. We have no choice. They already started the framework for it last year. They've always kept the framework going of they don't play anyone, and why should we have that? We have the SEC schedule. We should schedule no one. They started that narrative last year. So USC is the first domino to fall. That's the bottom line. And congratulations on saving Bill Belichick's situation in North Carolina, John. Congrats.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. This stuff's gonna be. I don't know what's gonna happen. And you know what? You bring up a good about all of this stuff and how it's all moving and changing and all this stuff. I think Bavak was in a tough spot. Bavak was got to guide Notre Dame to be able to make decisions for now, but have enough flexibility to be able to pivot if you need to later. And that's not the easiest thing to set up because you have to look at the now and you also have to look down the road. And that's not the easiest equation. Bavak was taking this job at a very important time in Notre Dame history, and he's got to be able to navigate this. It's not going to be easy.
100%. It's just a situation I think of inevitable. I think our contract ends up with NBC 2028, and I think by then the pressure is going to force us to join the conference. I don't want it, but it is what it is. But as far as Lincoln Riley, you could see it because the 50 Cent song "I Smell You Know What" is that man's thing because he was just like, I'm never leaving Oklahoma. We're joining the SEC. I'm off to USC to the Pac-12, and then the Pac-12 folded. So his plan of only having to play Oregon and Notre Dame didn't come to fruition when they joined that conference. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, if you listen, I've been saying for a while now that if I wake up one day to the news, Notre Dame's joining the Big Ten, I will totally understand, and it won't surprise me at all. It will not surprise me at all. Like, if I look down the road, I could see that scenario. I wouldn't be shocked at all. We're way past that. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Oh, dude, we had Paul Fine, idiot, from ESPN talking last year about how Notre Dame could join the SEC. They've already started the framework. They're coming after us. It's just the bottom line. They're just how quickly they squeeze it. They're probably looking at 2028. Unfortunately, that's the way I feel. I don't want to see it happen because I hate all those schools. And you know what? It is what it is. So you can't fight it forever. I mean, you can do your best, but they're eventually going to squeeze it out, especially if we have another successful season. They're gonna do it. Because, I mean, you beat the SEC champion, and they said what? What was their first thing? Oh, they hadn't played anyone this year. Well, you beat Texas A&M, who was a runner-up almost in the SEC. If they beat Texas, they're in the championship game. We beat your champion. We beat Penn State, who was the runner-up in the Big Ten. It was bound to happen. You know, they're finding excuses, and they're going to squeeze us until we break. And you're right. USC's the first domino. And if that falls, then you know where you're at, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's just a complicated. Jack Barnes is gone too. And the other thing is, I have no idea who Jack Barnes is. He's not even a regular, like, I don't even recognize that name. He's gone too. So I just quit being stupid in the chat. Anyway, sorry about that.
But no, it's also this. We also made this game less important. Does anyone even know what the Jules Shillelagh looks like?
I don't know, but if we win that last game, you ain't getting that Shillelagh back ever, man. You're putting it in a trophy case and it's never coming out again. How about that?
Yeah, that's awesome. But what I'm saying is the rivalry game, we dumped it down because Kelly didn't want the embarrassment if he lost of them coming to get it. Charlie Weiss didn't want, now we nail it. I mean, rivalry game comes with pain and celebration. So we dumbed it down when we started hiding the Shillelagh. In fact, I think the only picture they have of it is when Carson Palmer held the freaking thing. So, like, in a way, I love the rivalry and I hate California and I hope it drops in the ocean real soon. But, you know, it's just, I think we also did our thing of dumbing down the rivalry, because we took away elements of the rivalry. We removed it from TV because we hadn't won 9 straight times. Then we started whooping them, and we never saw the reverse coin flip of how it could benefit us.
Yeah.
So, but that's our own fault in a way too.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. It's Bavacqua's in a tough spot. You got to sail Notre Dame through these changing seas, make sure we can still compete, make our money, have the playoff, have the you know, all of that stuff. So I don't know, man. You got to stay viable here, and I trust Bavacqua. He's a sharp guy, modern guy, TV experience. He is going to he's going to be able to figure it out. I have confidence in that.
Oh, 100%, buddy. It's just like I said, you can see the writing on the wall. I don't think anyone necessarily wants it, but the writing's on the wall because the big heads want it to happen. And you've already seen those ESPN guys, the other networks, talking about joining the conference. And I think right now, how long is the agreement where we have to join the ACC too if we join a conference? How long is that in play for contract-wise?
Yeah, that's a good question. Here's my thought. I think this is all flexible because everybody would want Notre Dame. Like the SEC would listen to Notre Dame. The Big Ten would listen to Notre Dame. Obviously, ACC wants Notre Dame. So it's like, you know, I don't know.
And you got to remember the national championship game. It wasn't the start of the season. All of the South had been eliminated at that point and embarrassed for the most part. The West Coast was out. So you really had two Midwest teams, which, yeah, they're big brands, but who in Michigan wants to watch who wins between Notre Dame and that? Who in California? You know, I'm sorry, but it's tribal. I mean, if it was Michigan and Ohio State, are we really watching that game? I hope they both fall off the field and hurt themselves severely, okay? So that's why the game was that, because it didn't impact the playoffs because the playoffs were over already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see more of that in the future because if the South ain't in it, they ain't going to watch.
Yeah.
I think the big money is going to be in the playoff games in general, but you know, once certain areas are eliminated, they ain't going to want to watch it, you know?
Yeah. It's man, it's going to be it. We'll see what happens. I am being aware of all possible outcomes of this downstream. We'll see what happens, man. Hey, thanks for giving me a call on a Wednesday. Call again.
Question: did Bill Belichick cut you a check yet?
Shit. I was reading today that 24-year-old girl wanted the rights to the Hard Knocks for UNC, and she's doing all this stuff, and she's running the show, and it rubs me the wrong way, but whatever, man. I guess Bill can do whatever Bill wants to do.
Oh, he didn't cut you a check. You did all that work for nothing, man.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Listen, I'm just trying to keep him on the straight and narrow here, and he's got to realize you're blinded by that girl's beauty, and it's a bad look outside for everybody else. So I don't know. Whatever.
You have a blessed one, John.
Have a good one. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Callers, I'm going to come right back to you. All I'm saying is, I give a lot of flexibility in this chat. If you ever have a football disagreement or you think I'm an idiot or whatever, I have no problem with that. Any football disagreement is fine. But I know what you're doing when you dance around certain things, when you say things in the chat that aren't direct, but I know what you're getting at. Like, people here aren't dumb. And why is it that much to ask that you don't like hint around racism in the chat? Can we just keep it about football, please? So I don't see everything, but I catch a lot of things, and I know what you're doing. Can you just like not do that? It's not that much to ask. And the part that really bothers me is I give a lot of leeway here. You just can't cross the line. And you all know where the line is. And some people push it just to push it, and you know what you're doing. And then you could claim it wasn't, but I know exactly what you're doing. It ain't my first rodeo. I know what you're doing. And you're not going to do that to my people. So you could go into a timeout and then try and be better on the back end of it. 757, what's going on?
John, good morning, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you. Crystal clear. What's going on?
Hey, John, my message is simple. We need to get a backbone, baby. It is a big deal if, we need to not undersell how much of an asset Notre Dame is. All this kind of like it's freaking Thanos and inevitability about us joining the Big Ten or ACC, all this bull garbage. I think we need to, I guess somewhat go back to our roots, baby. Like when they used to try to blackball us back then, we would say, okay, fine, we'll play anybody, anywhere, at any time. Now, the caveat to that is it only makes sense, and like we can only be, independent Notre Dame if we do well. So one, I would just say, I think it's pretty core to the identity. One, that we're good at football. So that's the overall premise.
Hey, you're breaking up on me a little bit. I don't know what's going on.
Oh no, yes sir. I'm sorry about that. I'm driving through maybe a bad part of South Bend, but so I guess one, need to be good at football. Marcus Freeman's got us going in the right direction, and so that's underlying assumption. Two is if USC or other property programs don't want to play us because they feel like their conference schedule is more important, Notre Dame is still a big enough of a draw that I guess whatever arrangements we got to do to fill out a 12-team schedule that is competitive, that's all we got to do, because there's still no scenario where Notre Dame's 11-1 and 12-0 where we're not going to be in the playoffs.
It's true,
but doing well in the playoffs.
But I think the issue becomes if those other teams follow suit with USC, it becomes more of a challenge to try and fill out that schedule the way we want. When you're looking down the road at the Texas and Alabama series and that kind of thing, and then like if those don't happen, that's where it becomes a challenge, because a lot of those big brand names are locked up in these conferences and they don't see the need to jump out of conference and schedule Notre Dame. I don't know what you do with that then. Now, how do you patchwork together? What do you play more ACC teams? Is that going to excite people? The Big 12? I've seen a lot of people say Big 12. Like, I don't know if that moves the needle enough for people or not. I don't know.
So I would say, so long as we're good, it still doesn't matter. So I guess kind of behind the scenes overall, we just got to keep perspective, is that it's unsustainable that the Big Ten and the SEC or whatever just keep on, like the current path that we're on is not probably going to be where we're at 10 years from now, right? So in my mind, if it does become the two kind of super conferences and whatever, this is big time football and not big time football, so long as Notre Dame ends up in a pathway to the national championship, that's fine. And at that point, I don't know if you necessarily would even call it joining a conference. Like, it's not the same thing. At that point, it wouldn't be the same thing as, hey, we're joining the Big Ten or we're joining the SEC. It's really, we want to participate in major college football, so we're doing that. And if that is always, like, if everybody's under the umbrella of, like, a national scheduling, entity or whatever it would be, like, I think that's one thing. I just say, I don't know. I think it's where, as long as the NBC money makes sense, as the Under Armour money makes sense, even if we had to schedule, 12 mid-pack, middle of the pack, P4, I guess it's kind of like we're representing, like we can't play Alabama, we can't play Texas, we can't play the big dogs. We go 11-1 and 12-0 against a bunch of mid-tier teams. If we do well in the playoffs, it still doesn't matter, right? So I think the blackballing would have to happen over a longer period of time than to actually hurt the Irish before the structure of the college football overall is. So I don't want to see us join the Big Ten. I don't want to see us join the ACC, and then like 2 or 3 years later, it all gets thrown out the window anyway because we're now under like a 64 team major college football model or whatever it ends up being. So I don't think it's inevitable. The money still makes sense. The Irish facilities are top notch and getting better. Coach Freeman is top notch and getting better. The recruiting's going up. Like all this good stuff while we're independent. Don't cave into these knuckleheads who are out for themselves and give up, like our AD is in the meeting rooms now deciding what happens with the college football playoff. There's like 1/20th, the AD for the Big Ten is representing Michigan and 20 other teams or whatever, right? Like we have a whole vote. Michigan has 1/20th of the vote. Don't give that up for $10 million. Like our money is fine. Again, it's not my money, so it's easy for me to talk about it like this. But like they're in a good spot where they are. Stay independent and F everybody, and we'll play whoever wants to play. And we're going to win a championship under Marcus Freeman, and it's going to be beautiful. And I would just leave you with that, John.
Man, I appreciate it. Yeah, we're going to see what happens. It's a lot of this is Notre Dame's positioning. You got to do now, and you got to be flexible for later. And Bavak was trying to get ahead of this, and I'm sure he has some ideas of what he might do. If this happens, here are my options. If this happens, here are our options. Bavak ain't no dummy. I am sure he is understanding the landscape at a greater level than we are about what's coming. He's going to put us in a good spot. I'm confident in that. Hey, thanks for the call, man.
Cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, John, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 1 second. So what would your disaster scenario be? Like, what's the worst outcome of all this?
I think the worst outcome for this is USC drops the bomb, and the trickle-down effect of that is Alabama and Florida and Texas all do the same thing, bow out of them being on our schedules in the future. And then that really backs Notre Dame into a corner to have to either join a conference or try and fill those other games. But whatever you do, it isn't gonna be Florida and Texas and Alabama. So I think that's where it gets tough. If the games you had circled come off the schedule, then you're kind of getting backed into a very awkward position. And if USC does it first, I don't see why the SEC wouldn't say, yeah, why are we going to play Notre Dame then in non-conference? So that would be the worst case scenario, sort of like a boycott against Notre Dame.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. I think we're going to put 63 up on the Trojan, and it's going to be brutal in October.
There you go. Oh, I like to hear that. Have a good one, man. Take care. Driving around South Bend, going to the local auction. Always Irish Senior. Watched every SC game back in the day with Always Irish Super Senior, Grandpa Kennedy. You know who his favorite man was. There's a reason I love Frank so much. That's Grandpa Kennedy's guy. Always Irish Super Senior. Love the history. FUSC. Move on and win the games you play. It's a very mature perspective, Always Irish Senior. It's all you could do is win the games you play, baby. Win the games you play. 832. What's going on? Welcome to the show.
What's up, John? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you. What's going on, man? Thanks for the call. Thanks for holding.
Not much. Just we're all sweating pretty hard at work, but just stepping away for a second. Have been playing a lot of like college football, and you can like reassign the conferences and stuff.
Interesting.
And I thought it'd be like an interesting question to ask you. Pretend we live in a reality where Notre Dame's going to form their own conference. What kind of teams do you think would be interested in joining a new conference with Notre Dame?
Well, my first question is, are we assuming that money's not an issue? Like, let's be honest.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Let's dumb it down a little bit, make it a little more fun.
If you were going to do that, here's what I think I would want. If we're already going multinational with these or cross country with these conferences, you have like Big Ten teams that are in LA or whatever. If we're doing that, I'm going to try and find a rival from every different part of the country, right? Like I want Miami and or Florida State down south. I want like a Michigan or Ohio State in the middle. And I want that USC out west. I would want a little sampling there. If I get to build this, a healthy sample around the country of those brand name helmets, and it would be awesome.
Yeah, one school that I think would be looking to get out of their conference in the next couple of years with Big Brother back would be Texas A&M.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I started thinking about some more like more private schools or like religious schools. Like I feel like BYU may be a team that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be a good one. You know who I want Notre Dame to play? And I don't know why this keeps coming back to me, but I think it'd be awesome. A home and home with Oregon. I think that would be awesome. Just to and the way they've kind of risen up with the Nike money and everything, and it's not a team we typically cross paths with. I would love a home and home with Oregon. I think that'd be sweet.
Sure, and that's like probably the two biggest programs for those two brands, in Under Armour and Nike. So you could see a lot of money coming in from those two brands to support that kind of rivalry.
Yeah, and you know what I like about it is you have the old brand that's been around forever, like, and everybody, and on the Notre Dame end, I like the contrast with like a last 20 years kind of rise up team. And it's all because of Nike money. Let's admit it. If it wasn't for the Nike thing, none of this would be happening with Oregon. I don't believe. It's not an insult. It's just a fact. Like, that money is what's driven that program to become what it is. And that's the way it goes. Good for Phil Knight. He can do what he wants. But I've had Oregon on that list. I like the contrast of the newer and the older.
Yeah, and then I think with maybe USC on their way out, which I'm not too upset about that. I can't stand USC on any football field, let alone on the same football field as Notre Dame. But with looking for new teams to try to schedule, I think it would be I guess advantageous to try to look for teams that have similar recruiting, try to get some kids that, you start playing those teams. Like BYU has a lot of Polynesian players. And I feel like we kind of target a lot of Polynesian kids too. And I think you start building a rivalry with that, you may be able to find some more connections. And then also I think trying to schedule state-based, I think it'd be great to have a Texas team that we play more often.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. Yeah, Texas is one of those brands that would be awesome. And they are on the schedule. People are mentioning Texas in the chat. They're on the schedule coming up. So we'll see if that holds or if more teams go the USC route if they ending up doing that. So yeah, that's a very interesting experiment. And who knows? Notre Dame may get to play this in real life here soon. Who knows?
Yeah, good deal. All right, John, go Irish.
Go Irish. Thanks for the call. Have a good one. The Aztecs, what is that? Arizona State? What do I want to play them for? Fresno State will get you back into California. Let's play Colorado. Oh, man, that'd get ugly. It would the build up and all the discussion. I know the way that would turn, and it would be, I don't even want us involved. That would get ugly. The Dion thing, and then people would not like Dion, but it would go too far, and then it would cross a line, and it would just get weird. It would just get weird. Anyways, Chicago's very own Tom Frawley.
Hey, John, I don't know what's going to happen. It's with these the Big Ten teams, and I know there's always that little backroom conspiracy. Let's find out what happens this summer when they have the annual Big Ten football coaches conference in Chicago. But now that ESPN just reported that Notre Dame's going to kick off in Lambeau Field in 2026, and I think that's just a makeup for what happened during COVID. And that should be a natural progression. I like that a lot. I'd like them also to put the University of Illinois. Because those people piss and moan, well, you're not playing Notre Dame. Well, that's because they played between the 20s and the 60s, and Notre Dame kicked the crap out of them all the time. So, but I wouldn't mind putting them back on because their program has a trajectory. It seems like it would be a fun thing to play that game in Chicago or Champaign or South Bend. I mean, that would be a good game.
Dude, Lambeau, were we not scheduled to I believe we were scheduled to play in Lambeau. Was that the pandemic that took that out? Because I was really looking forward to that. I thought I remembered that. And that would that would be really, really cool. And you know what I think about, Tom, being in the Bears territory with their rivalry with the Packers or whatever, there's a quaintness to that stadium,
Oh,
that neighborhood kind of feel that for some way
without a doubt.
it works for me with like Notre Dame going there and like kind of how it's in a neighborhood and it feels real homely and like there's something with that setup that lines up to me that matches with Notre Dame, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and as long as they play that game in September, I'm golden. You know, that would be a beautiful setting up there. Because, you know, it's 4 hours from Chicago. A lot of people love it. There's so many Chicago people that go up to Door County anyway. So you're right there. There's a lot of things you can do in September that, you know, up there. There's a lot of great fishing and hunting for the outdoor enthusiasts. So it makes a lot of sense for that. But as far as going to Oregon, Notre Dame's played Oregon twice. I remember listening to the game in 1982 when they were a 4-touchdown favorite and they tied Oregon 13-13. Jerry Faust and his illustrious oh God, he couldn't call a game to save his life in college.
And that's when and then shortly after, that's when Fausted got ousted. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I remember them playing Oregon in South Bend in '76, and they beat them 41-0. I was 12 years old at that game, and but I just don't like going out to the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
it's a long ride.
Yeah,
and
you don't know what's gonna. Yeah, you don't know what's gonna happen when you get up into Bigfoot country, up into them woods, up in the mountains, man. Anything could pop out at you. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Ask our illustrious Ohio State fans that just went up there last year.
Yeah,
they got out Ohio State fans by the Oregon fans. They're nasty up there.
Yeah,
you know, people think that, you know, they're very rabid and nasty because it's the only game in town.
Tom, I love you, man. Last time you called, you went off on Miami and all their people, and I still got that clip cut up with your one-liner. I'm going to use that in a couple days. I thought it was hilarious. I love it because every time you call, you got something juicy, man. Let it rip. Who do you not like today?
Oh, well. No, I'm stirring the pot. I don't really care about Oregon. I mean, you know, it's interesting how that program has been subsidized by Nike, and then, you know, it turns the kids on because of their 47 different flavors of uniforms. I get it. You know, it's fun. It adds a little color to college football, but they're not a blue blood.
Yeah, it's
and
that's why I think it would be an interesting clash there with all of our history and them being kind of a modern riser. But also bringing back, man, it would. I don't know how this is all going to go, Tom, and I don't know if I don't know, dude. Are we all playing games with ourselves, and we're just going to end up in the Big Ten in like 5 years? Is this already predetermined that we're just going to end up getting squeezed, and that's where we're going to be, and we're wasting our time? Like, am I overthinking that this isn't even a done deal? Is this just where everything's heading with us, leading us down this path?
You know, it's a good question. Something tells me that Bavacqua is going to hold out and be as foxy as he possibly can and use his sharps to stay away from that unless it's totally inevitable. Now, there was talk a couple of years ago that, and a lot of it came from the Michigan fans and the Michigan camp. Well, you know, we're just going to boycott Notre Dame. Well, they're back on the schedule in 2029. What are you talking about, guys? I mean, all these teams were going to get together, and then you look at that 2029 schedule and it's like, well, evidently money talks and bullshit walks, because all that posturing against Notre Dame and the previous caller, man, he was dead on talking about Notre Dame doing their own thing. Let it continue. And I think that's what really stirs now, unless they completely, if all the conferences just boycott Notre Dame, then they're going to be forced to. But didn't they just save the ACC basically?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Notre Dame's doing a lot of favors for the ACC, but there's some security for Notre Dame in the ACC agreement that Notre Dame kind of wanted. You know, there's a give and a take there, kind of both sides can benefit. It's a fallback for Notre Dame, a safe home base for Notre Dame, but it isn't the most exciting scenario, you know?
No, it's not. Here, look, I'm looking forward to 2025 and 2026 season. This is going to be, I mean, it's just, you can feel the anticipation building up, and I just don't remember a time where the perfect storm is actually helping Notre Dame. Everything's lining up. So we'll see. You know, they still have to play the games.
Yeah, it's right? I don't know, man. Whatever it's going to be, win the games in front of you, Notre Dame's going to be okay. And if things need to change, Notre Dame will have a lot of options because they're so appealing for a million different reasons. Notre Dame's going to have a lot of different options. So, Tom, I love you, man. I'm glad you're feeling good. I'm glad you got that energy. Yeah, what do you got?
What about, did you guys pick your game that you're going to have always Irish? Is that Purdue?
Yeah, the only one that works for like all of my family and everybody is Purdue. So that's the one we're going to do.
And you know what? Tickets should be reasonable, right? So, and tickets should be relatively easy for that. Now, I've got a buddy of mine that was in the Purdue band. Let's see if we can get the big drum over at your tailgate.
Oh my God. I'm going to kick the wheel out. I'm going to slash one of the tires, and they're going to have to roll the actual drum up near the stadium. You're not the first person. You're not the first person who's brought that up. Said, John, what if that drum, they said, what if that drum ends up at your tailgate? I'm slashing the tire, and they're going to have to roll that thing up in there. Oh, man.
Just breaking your chops. No, that would be hilarious, though. Can you imagine the revolt? John would be throwing Miller Lights at it. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I hate that stupid drum. All right, Tom. Hey, have a good one in the great city of Chicago. I'm glad to hear the energy in your voice, buddy. We love you here. We love you.
All right, guys. God bless. Safe home and go Irish.
Have a good one. Oh man, we're having a tough day in the chat, you guys. We're just having a tough day in the chat. And I see Pat here. I want to get his take on USC. We're just having a rough day in the chat. So I don't know what's going on. Lee here thinks he's Lee Harvey Oswald coming at John Kennedy here. He thinks he's clever, Ohio State fan. USC checking out from ND. Nobody's afraid of ND football. Like, Lee, can you just be more creative? That's all I ask. I like a good troll job, but can you at least be a little bit creative about it just to make it entertaining at least? I understand that Ohio State won the championship and they beat Notre Dame. We haven't beat them since 36. There's no hiding from the facts. But you're going out of your way to act like Notre Dame's not good at all. And you're overdoing it. You're overplaying your hand. I know what you're doing. There's a million of your types and you think you're sitting there in your undies in mom's basement laughing. I get it. But it's like when you go this hard to discredit Notre Dame and not give them any credit at all, it doesn't help your argument. It hurts it. Notre Dame is average. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, good one. No, we have not. 1988 actually was the last time. So Ohio State beat Notre Dame, and that's fine. They deserve to win the championship, whatever. But you don't have to be scared to the whole thing of nobody's afraid of Notre Dame. I get it, but it's how did that work out for Georgia? I don't know. How did that work out for Penn State? How did it work out for Signetti? All I do is win. So you could say these things, but you're almost hurting your case. Follow me here, Lee. You're almost hurting your own case. What if your angle was that Notre Dame was a tough program and I'm glad we beat them in a tough game and earned the championship? You're almost denigrating your own win by being it's nothing. I just feel like you're trying too hard. That's all. I just feel like you're trying too hard. It's fine. Try and Try and not lose to Michigan 10 years in a row. Let's try that. Pat, what's going on?
I mean, at least he did admit he's not clever.
Yeah, whatever, man. I'm having a rough day in the chat, so I don't have a lot of patience for some of these things. Pat,
the one slow to come in.
The question for you is, everybody knows how you feel about the USC game. Everybody's been referencing the debate we had about the USC versus Ohio State games and which means more and why. And so people want to hear your take on the USC scenario. What do you think?
I would be devastated if Notre Dame lost this game.
Yeah.
Just because, just as your dad made his comment, he watched every single one of those games with his dad. Just like I've watched every single one of those games with my dad. You watch them with your dad. That game means more because we hate them. And I respect them, but I hate them. Like Michigan, I just hate Michigan. I have no respect for Michigan.
Yeah.
So it's different. But for SC, it just means more. And I saw another comment in the chat about Notre Dame quit Michigan. Notre Dame never quit Michigan. Michigan quit Notre Dame every time Notre Dame beat Michigan too much. So Notre Dame just had no reason to continue that game on what they were trying to do. It was a completely different situation. This is a game that's been played for over 100 years now. This is the best intersectoral rivalry in college football. And I think it is, first of all, USC is getting trolled like mad. Their own fans are after them for this. They want to keep playing Notre Dame, the fans that show up. Anyways, I still, I don't know, maybe it's just I'm holding out hope that this game's going to stay. I read that USC is just trying to position it differently on the schedule. They want to see it earlier in the year instead of at the end of late year or in the middle of the season. See, West Tom Pat, there you go. I have done nothing to antagonize you, and then you just throw a shot at me. This is why you're a fraud. Anyways, moving on. So
at least he donated $10 to do it.
Yeah, you're welcome, John. But he's always the guy that says that he only responds. He never goes after. I say literally nothing about him, and he immediately fires a shot at me.
Yeah.
So that's why the clown. He's not worth the time. So I do think that USC is actually putting this out there as a negotiation piece to move this game on the schedule. They want it earlier in the year. And also, I think you said it must be a leap year, you jackass. If you're saying I make a good point and then you say it must be a leap year, you're not paying me a compliment. You're the freaking imbecile who can't read what he writes. Anyways, moving on. I think the other aspect to this is NBC. What is NBC doing?
Yeah. Well, okay. But does that get complicated because NBC is in bed with the Big Ten now? Like, is that the angle? Because it's all wrapped into the same thing. You have Notre Dame sitting right there next to the Big Ten on NBC. Like, is that, you know what I mean? Like, is all this just fun? Is this all funneling us to the Big Ten eventually? Is that what this is?
NBC owns this game, but no, I don't think so, because NBC owns this game on both sides of it. They own this game when it's played in LA. They own this game when it's played in South Bend. So NBC wants to broadcast this football game. So that's another reason I don't think this game goes away, because why would NBC want it to go away?
Yeah.
Notre Dame draws ratings. And like we said, I think you mentioned it, John, that if this game goes away, that might give reason for Alabama and Texas and some of the other games that Notre Dame has scheduled to pull out of the schedule. I don't think that's the case. So it's going to be Notre Dame draws eyes, and Notre Dame draws eyes to a national audience. A lot of these games are regional broadcasts, so or half the country or quarter of the country. So anytime you play Notre Dame, you're either on the night game on ABC or your an NBC game played to the whole country. So I just don't see people backing away from Notre Dame. There's too much money involved when Notre Dame is on the schedule.
Yeah.
No, just make too much money.
Isn't the Big Ten schedule though? Isn't it like it's not all NBC? So I don't think all those games are NBC. Isn't Fox heavily involved? And then like there's different tiers to the games. Like I don't know, man. Let Bavacqua figure all this crap out.
Yeah, no, I will. But I mean, and like I'm just saying, NBC's in the picture, and whatever. Fox would love to have this game. Fox would love to have this game, but you're not going to do a big noon kickoff in LA.
But wait. Okay, the big morning kickoff in LA. But okay. But this is the money aspect of it. What about the competitive part of USC saying the Big Ten schedule is plenty tough? Why make it harder for us to make the playoff than we need to with the game we get to choose? How do you solve that part of it?
Well, I call a big old BS on that one. Because look at USC's schedule. They open up with Missouri State and Georgia Southern. Okay, that's their first two games. Their first Big Ten game is Purdue and then Michigan State.
Yeah,
the only two teams they played this year so they have their first right now ranked team on their schedule would be Illinois because they're the perennial power in the Big Ten. The biggest game they have on their schedule is Oregon, and they have a Michigan team, which half of its coaching.
Yep.
Might be suspended. So, like, what is the tough part of that schedule? Don't tell me that. Like, this is what I don't like about this. We play in a big boy conference, so we got all these tough schedules. They had a tougher schedule in the Pac-12. Like, I don't. This whole argument makes no sense. It makes no sense. And Gilmore, I don't disagree that they'll probably lose in Nebraska and Oregon, but I don't think it's because that Nebraska is that great of a team. I just think that USC is not where it's supposed to be, and so it's I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. If it is a play to get NEC into the Big Ten, I think it's wrong. I don't think it's the right play, and I don't think it's going to work. I don't see it working.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm upset. I'm disappointed. If I said it before and I'll stay by it. If Notre Dame comes down to it and says you're going to lose USC if you don't join the Big Ten, I'm willing to give up independence for that. I said that a long time ago, and I will stand by it because I value that game that much.
Man, that's deep. So you kind of answered my question to round this out, because the final question I wanted to ask you was, if you are Pipa Vacqua in that power chair at Notre Dame, how are you navigating this in the near future to be making some decisions, but flexible enough to pivot if you need to? If you are Pipa Vacqua, what are you thinking, or what's your angle here?
What I want to see him do is I want to see him come out with a contract agreement with the SEC that says we're going to play two SEC teams every year, and the SEC can determine what two it is every year. Like what we got two this year, we got Texas A&M and Arkansas. And if you can lock up a 10-year deal with the SEC, it says we're going to do one game in the South and one game in South Bend, and it rotates every year. That will secure everything, because then the Big Ten is frozen out, and the Big Ten is going to turn around and they're going to realize that, man, we just screwed up. We had our teams playing Notre Dame. We had our teams in the national spotlight. And also, you got to remember, this isn't Brian Kelly's Notre Dame. I'm not trying to call up on this side of it.
Yeah.
This is a different Notre Dame team that competed for a national championship last year that some people are saying could be one of the top 3 teams in the country this year. Okay? I've read them as 2. I've read them as low as 7. They're going to be a top 10 team in their rankings. This is a team people want to have on their schedule because it's a measuring stick. And that's what Notre Dame should be playing for. Notre Dame should be saying, we're going to be the measuring stick for everybody. We'll play the SEC. We'll play the Big Ten. We'll play the SEC. Hell, let's even throw a Big 12 team in there. We'll play everybody. And then you can determine how good you are by how you do against Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's a changing world and a changing landscape, and we just got to make sure Notre Dame's in a position to be able to be sustainable with this playoff and the money and everything else. It's a tough time to be the Notre Dame AD. There's a lot of tough decisions maybe coming down the road. I don't know,
I
man.
agree. Hopefully they hired they hired a TV guy, so hopefully they got the right guy in there.
Yeah.
But I think I kind of go of what Tom was saying. I think Notre Dame has the position to put themselves in a really great spot if they can say, we'll play everybody. That's what I would like the Pete Bavacqua to say. I am really disappointed that USC doesn't want to be on our schedule anymore, but I want him to go out there. Even with that disappointment, Notre Dame is willing and will play anyone. Call me right now. I will put you on the schedule to replace that game.
Yeah.
We're not afraid of anybody. We'll come to your house and play. We don't I would say we don't even have to do a one-on-one. We'll come to your house. You don't have to come to ours. We'll come play you.
Yeah. Pat, how do you respond to this? A chatter says choosing the USC game over Independence is absurd. I would guess maybe your response would be, how do I value Independence that much without that team on that slate every year as an independent? Was that how you would respond to that?
No, not necessarily. It's conflicting. I can't argue against it. I just value that game that much.
Yeah.
I do value that game that much.
Yeah. And the other thing is we don't like it.
Personal feeling.
We don't like it. But joining the Big Ten would be awesome for Notre Dame overall. When you get over the loss of independence part, the money would be good and the schedules would be good, and everybody would. It would be a pretty good fallback for feeling like a loss. If that's what you lost into,
yeah,
that's a pretty good fallback. It's not like you're going to be forced to join some crap conference with no brand names. Like the Big Ten would be a pretty good second prize there.
Right. Oh, I agree. And like I said, this is not about logic or what. This is about feeling for me. This is about exactly what we talked about. This is me and my every USC game I go watch it with my dad.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah.
This is about that. And this is about what Notre Dame is to me. Notre Dame is not just a football team that I like to watch on Saturdays. Notre Dame is family. And nothing epitomizes that more for me than the USC game.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's about. I can totally understand for people saying I'm contradicting myself and all that other stuff. This is about family. And so this is, and that's just how much I value that game. Do I want Notre Dame to do this? No. Am I happy about this? No. I want the logical aspect of it says I want Notre Dame to stand their ground and tell the USC to go after themselves. They look like the bad guys here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, man, I don't know, but it's going to, there's a lot of discussion here in the summer. It's a juicy topic, Pat. Anything else? Thanks for touching base, man.
No. Oh, that's all good.
Well, have a good one. I'll talk to you.
Yep.
Later. Oh, man. Pilney, 35, $10 holler. If USC drops off, they will come on periodically. The ratings will be through the roof. It may go to the way of the Ohio State rivalry. Once every 10 years or so, a new rivalry will replace it. Yeah, I don't know, man. People will get over it. They really will. Even if it's going to hurt you, you'll adjust to whatever. That's what people do in life. You adjust your new circumstance. But I get people don't like it. $10 holler. ND will get Michigan back on the schedule. Ratings will be sky high and game day will be there. What are we, 32? We go to the Big House, I think is the next time they're on the schedule. Bet the mortgage on it. It'll be beautiful and ugly. Hair loss clinic. You heard it here first. Yeah, I think it's 32. We go back to the Big House. Nothing on the schedule till then. So I don't know. It's man, this is just tough. It's just a tough thing to sort through. There's not a good, easy answer. Here's an easy answer. And this is certainly accurate and true. The best case scenario is we win a natty and have a huge Always Irish party. I said it before and I mean it. And I'm not joking. If Notre Dame wins a championship, we're renting out some huge place and just having a raging party all night. That's what's happening. Maybe in South Bend, I rent out a bar. We do something. It will be an Always Irish celebration all night, and it will be wild, and it will be probably the best night of our lives, quite frankly. And I'm holding myself to that. So if it ever happens, we're having We're having a rager, and it's going to be fun, and most of you are invited. Not all of you. Not all of you. Most of you will be invited. Oh, boy. All right, guys, that's going to be it. I got a couple more callers I just can't get to. I got somewhere to be at 11. I'm already running late. Try me back Friday. I appreciate all of the calls. I appreciate all the donations. Most of the chatters are great. I don't know what happened. Today was a rough one. And every once in a while you have days like that. So we hit a bunch of rough ones, but thanks everybody for riding it out. I love you guys. Stay tuned tonight. I have something very specific. Mark with glasses was involved. Something very specific for the USC people. Stay tuned to the channel later on tonight and on Twitter and everywhere else. And you'll get a little taste of it. Pretty clever. Thank you guys for being here and being engaged. Have a good day. Be good.